Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Cup English. I'm Liam.
And I'm Chloe. Thanks so much for joining us today.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've been listening for a while, thank you for coming back again.
Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow Daily Cup English because we post new podcast episodes every single day.
Yeah, every day we share a real conversation in English, just like how people actually talk in daily life.
Our goal is simple: help you feel more comfortable listening to English and speaking English, one cup at a time.
Exactly. So whether you're listening while driving, walking, studying, or just relaxing, we're really happy you're here.
All right, Liam, today's topic is a pretty deep one.
It is. Today we're talking about finding meaning in failure.
Yeah, failure. Not the most comfortable word.
Probably not a word people like to hear, but it's something all of us experience at some point.
No matter where you're from, how old you are, or what you do, failure is just part of life.
And today, we're not here to give a motivational speech or tell you to never fail.
Instead, we just want to talk honestly about how failure feels, what it can teach us, and how we can find meaning in it.
So let's start gently and keep it real. Chloe, when you hear the word failure, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Honestly, the feeling. Not the event, but the feeling. That heavy feeling in your chest when something doesn't work out.
Yeah, that feeling sticks with you.
For me, failure usually feels like disappointment, mostly in myself. Like thinking, I should have done better, or why did I mess this up?
That self-blame can be really strong.
Exactly. And I think many people imagine failure as something big, like losing a job or failing an important exam.
But failure can also be very quiet.
Yes, it can be not reaching a goal you set for yourself.
Or staying in a situation that you know isn't right for you.
Or even trying something new and realizing you're not as good as you hoped.
That one hurts a lot, especially when you've told people about your plans.
True. Society often teaches us that failure is something to hide.
Like it means you're not smart enough, not strong enough, or not talented enough.
And social media doesn't help.
Not at all. You open your phone and everyone looks successful, confident, and happy all the time.
But what we don't see are the failures behind those moments.
Exactly. We compare our behind the scenes with other people's highlights.
So failure starts to feel personal, like something is wrong with you.
And that's why failure can be so painful, not because of what happened, but because of what we tell ourselves about it.
That's a really important point. For a long time, I thought failure meant I wasn't moving forward.
But now?
Now, I'm starting to see that failure doesn't always mean stopping. Sometimes it just means changing direction.
I like that, and I think many people listening right now might be in that exact place.
Yeah, if you're listening and you feel like you've failed at something recently, you're not alone.
And that's what we're going to explore more deeply today, how failure fits into our lives and how we can slowly find meaning in it. Chloe, earlier you said failure often feels like disappointment in yourself. Was there a time in your life when you really felt that?
Yeah, there was. And to be honest, it's still a little uncomfortable to talk about, but I think it's worth sharing.
Take your time.
A few years ago, I had this job that I really wanted. I worked hard to get it, prepared for the interviews, and I truly believed it was the right step for me.
So your expectations were pretty high.
Very high. I imagined myself doing well, growing fast, and feeling confident. But after a few months, things started to go wrong.
What kind of things?
I made small mistakes at first. Nothing huge, but enough to make me feel nervous.
And once you feel nervous, everything feels harder.
Exactly. I started doubting myself. I overthought every email, every meeting, every decision.
That sounds exhausting.
It was. And instead of asking for help, I tried to hide my mistakes.
Which usually makes the pressure even worse.
Yeah. Eventually, I was told that I wasn't a good fit for the role. I didn't get fired, but I was encouraged to leave.
That's a tough moment.
It really was. I remember walking home that day and feeling like I had failed, not just on the job, but as a person.
What was going through your mind?
I kept thinking, maybe I'm not as capable as I thought. I felt embarrassed, especially because I'd told my friends how excited I was about this job.
So there was that sense of shame, too.
Yes, I didn't want to talk about it with anyone. I avoided questions like, how's work going?
That silence can be really heavy.
It was. For a while, I just felt stuck. I didn't know what to do next, and I was afraid of making another wrong choice.
That fear can stay with you for a long time.
Definitely. And at that time, I couldn't see any meaning in that failure. At all. It just felt painful and unfair.
Thanks for sharing that, Chloe. I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of quiet failure.
I hope so. If it helps someone feel less alone, it's worth it.
For me, I used to see failure as proof that I made the wrong decision.
I felt the same way.
But over time, I started to see failure more like a teacher, one that's not very kind, but very honest.
That's a good way to describe it.
I remember failing at something important early in my career, too. I had this project that I thought would really impress people.
Let me guess, it didn't.
Not at all. It didn't get the results I expected, and my manager wasn't happy.
How did you react?
At first, I felt defensive. I wanted to explain myself and blame the situation.
That's a very human reaction.
Yeah, but after some time, I realized something. The project didn't fail because I wasn't smart. It failed because I didn't listen enough.
Listen to what?
To feedback, to people with more experience. I was so focused on proving myself that I ignored advice.
So the failure showed you a blind spot.
Exactly, and success had never shown me that before. When things go well, you don't stop to question yourself.
That's true. Success can make you comfortable.
Failure forces you to pause. It makes you ask hard questions like, what did I miss? Or what can I do differently?
But those questions don't feel helpful at first.
No, they don't. At first, failure just hurts. The meaning usually comes later.
I really agree with that. When I was in the middle of my situation, I couldn't see any lesson at all.
And that's okay. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to learn something immediately.
Sometimes surviving the moment is enough.
Exactly. And only after some time and distance can failure start to teach us something valuable.
Like patience, humility, or even clarity about what we actually want.
Yes, failure doesn't always change your life overnight, but it slowly changes how you see yourself.
And maybe that's where the meaning really begins. You know, Liam, even though I understand what you're saying about failure as a teacher, I still struggle with one thing.
What's that?
I'm not sure I agree that failure is necessary for growth. I mean, do we really have to fail to learn something?
That's a fair question. I don't think anyone wants failure.
Exactly. If we could grow without feeling that pain, wouldn't that be better?
Maybe, but think about how we learn most things in life.
Like what?
Like learning to walk. Everyone falls, many times.
That's true, but as adults, falling feels more serious.
It does, because now we connect failure with our identity. We think, I failed, so I'm a failure.
That sentence alone is so heavy.
Yeah, but if you look closely, failure often shows us our limits.
And that's uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. But knowing your limits is also how you grow beyond them.
I guess for me, the hardest part is that failure can slow you down.
Or at least it feels that way.
Yes, you see other people moving forward and you feel stuck.
But sometimes slowing down is exactly what we need.
I don't like that answer, but I think it's true.
Same here. Growth isn't always about moving fast. Sometimes it's about understanding yourself better.
So maybe failure isn't necessary for growth, but avoiding it completely might limit growth.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, I'll accept that for now.
We've talked about lessons, but I think we should talk more about emotions.
Yes, because failure is emotional before it's logical.
Exactly. What was the strongest emotion for you after your experience?
Shame.
That feeling of wanting to hide.
Yes, I felt like everyone could see my failure when they couldn't. I stopped sharing things. I became quieter.
Failure can really shrink your world.
And then there's fear. Fear of trying again and failing again.
That fear can be powerful. It keeps people in situations they've already outgrown.
Or it keeps them from starting anything new at all.
I've seen that a lot. People say, I'll try later, but later never comes.
Because later feels safer than now.
But safety can slowly turn into regret.
That's something I realized after a while. Staying where I was felt safe, but it didn't feel honest.
And fear doesn't disappear just because we avoid it.
It actually grows.
Yeah, failure hurts, but living in fear for years hurts in a quieter way.
I wish more people talked about this part, the emotional cost of not trying again.
Me too, because healing from failure isn't about being positive all the time.
It's about allowing yourself to feel disappointed and still move forward.
Slowly, carefully, in your own way.
And realizing that fear doesn't mean stop, it just means something matters to you.
That's a really important reminder. So after the emotions settle a little, that's usually when people start asking the big question.
Why did this happen?
Exactly. Or maybe, what is this trying to teach me?
For a long time, I didn't want to answer that question. I was afraid the answer would be, "You're not good enough."
That fear makes sense.
But when I finally looked back, I realized failure wasn't saying I wasn't good enough. It was showing me what I didn't know yet.
That's a powerful difference.
Yeah, I learned that I needed clearer communication, more patience, and honestly, better boundaries.
Failure often points to things we ignore when everything is going well,
Like our limits.
or our real priorities.
After that experience, I started asking myself different questions. Not how do I look, but how do I feel?
That shift matters a lot.
It does. I realized I had been chasing approval more than meaning.
Failure has a way of removing distractions.
It really does. Suddenly, you care less about impressing people and more about understanding yourself.
For me, failure taught me patience. Not just patience with situations, but patience with myself.
That's a hard lesson.
Very hard. We expect ourselves to move on quickly, to be fine.
But growth doesn't work on a schedule.
Exactly. Meaning takes time to appear. Sometimes months, sometimes years.
And that's okay. Not every failure needs an immediate explanation,
Sometimes the meaning is simply learning how to keep going,
even when you're unsure.
especially when you're unsure.
You know, Liam, one thing that really helped me was changing the story I told myself.
The inner story is powerful.
At first, my story was, I failed, so I shouldn't try again.
That story keeps a lot of people stuck.
But slowly it became, I failed, so I learned something I couldn't learn before.
That doesn't erase the pain, but it changes the direction.
Exactly. I stopped seeing failure as the end. I started seeing it as a pause.
A pause is a good word.
It gave me space to breathe, to reflect, and to choose more carefully next time.
Reframing doesn't mean lying to yourself.
No, it means being honest but kinder.
Instead of asking, what's wrong with me, you ask, what can I take from this?
And sometimes the answer is small.
But small lessons can change big decisions.
I also learned that failure doesn't define the whole story of your life.
It's just one chapter.
And chapters make sense only when you read more than one.
I love that. When you're in the middle of failure, it feels like the whole book.
But time gives you distance, and distance gives you perspective.
That's when meaning starts to become more clear.
Not louder, just clearer.
And maybe that's the quiet power of failure. There's another feeling that often comes after failure.
Let me guess. Thinking it's too late.
Exactly. People start saying, I should have done this earlier, or I missed my chance.
I've said that to myself so many times.
Me too. Failure makes us look backward instead of forward.
And when we look backward, we compare ourselves to others.
That comparison can be brutal.
You see people your age doing better and you think you're behind.
But behind according to whose timeline?
That's the question no one asks.
We grow up with this idea that life has a schedule. Study at this age, succeed by that age.
And if something goes wrong, you feel like you broke the plan.
But the truth is, most people don't follow the plan anyway.
They just don't talk about it.
Failure doesn't mean you're late. It usually means you're learning something important.
And learning takes time.
A lot of time.
I used to think restarting meant going backward.
But now?
Now I see restarting as choosing again more wisely.
That's such a healthier way to see it.
If you're listening and you feel like you're late in life, I want you to know something.
You're not late.
You're just on your own timeline.
And failure might be the moment that helps you realign with it.
We've talked a lot today, but I don't want to turn this into a list of advice.
Yeah, life isn't a checklist.
But there are a few things I wish someone had told me when I was going through failure.
Same here.
First, you don't need to explain your failure to everyone.
That's a big one.
Some people won't understand, and that's okay.
Your journey doesn't need approval.
Second, it's okay to take small steps. You don't need a big comeback story.
Small steps are still movement.
And third, be patient with yourself.
More patient than you think you need to be.
Failure already takes a lot from you. Don't take kindness away too.
I would add one thing.
Go ahead.
Failure doesn't mean stop. It just means pause, reflect, and adjust.
That adjustment can change everything.
And even if you don't see the meaning yet, that doesn't mean it isn't there.
It might just be too early.
Meaning has a quiet way of showing up later.
When you're ready.
Before we wrap up, I want to speak directly to you, the person listening right now.
Yeah, especially if you're listening quietly and thinking, this sounds like me.
If you're going through a failure at this moment, or if you're still carrying one from the past, we just want you to know you're not broken.
You're not behind in life.
And you're definitely not alone.
Failure can feel very personal, like it only belongs to you.
But the truth is, it's something we all share, even if we don't talk about it.
Some people hide it behind success. Some people hide it behind silence.
But everyone has a story that didn't go as planned.
If you're learning English and you feel discouraged,
Or if you're starting again after something didn't work out,
that doesn't mean you failed for nothing.
it means you're still in the middle of your story.
And the middle is often the hardest part.
But it's also where the most growth happens.
So, if there's one thing we hope you take away from today, it's this.
Failure doesn't define who you are.
And it doesn't erase your potential.
Meaning doesn't always show up right away.
Sometimes it shows up quietly later when you look back.
Be patient with yourself.
And be kind to your past self, too.
They were doing the best they could with what they knew at the time.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow Daily Cup English.
We share new English conversations every day to help you learn naturally and feel more confident.
You can listen anytime, on your way to work, during a break, or before bed.
One small conversation a day can really make a difference.
We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new topic.
Until then, take care of yourself.
And don't be afraid of the lessons life gives you.
See you next time on Daily Cup English.
Bye for now.